Okay, the question was, where's the band name come from? Um, I think it comes from. I think it's just like a combo, of, like a word, you know, combo of words. I do a better job My name is Zach Borzone, and I do the vocals in the band. YHWH Nailgun is my main band thing, and I do writing as the other thing.
My name's Jack. I play the synth. I run a label called Domani Sounds. YHWH is my main band as well. I play in like a few other side things, like a band called Threesome. Yeah.
I'm Sam. I play drums in YHWH Nailgun. I'm in I'm in a band called Godcaster, and I'm in a band called Bosco Mujo, and I have a solo project called Beheadings Online. But YHWH Nailgun is the only band that I have a hand in like writing the music with everybody. So it's special.
My name is Agiv. I play guitar in YHWH Nailgun. I have a few other projects, Bugfight and Assassin of Youth. That's like my solo thing. I really like the active project right now where I'm like involved is YHWH Nailgun.
We've all known each other through music for several years, but YHWH Nailgun started when Zach and I lived together in Philly, and we decided to start a project where I was using Ableton, like I was doing just electronic production stuff, and he was doing vocals, and yeah, ultimately we wanted to make it into a band, and start using live instruments. And so we've known Jack for a long time, and we hit him up and asked if he would play synth, and then we recorded our EP with Sagiv. He produced the whole thing, and we're all friends with him and fans of his guitar playing, and so we had him join the band, play guitar, and the rest is history.
I guess I can't speak too much about the time before I joined, but at least from like an outsider perspective from then, and like especially like taking in the job for production and like kind of talking to you guys as like what you were looking for initially. So a lot of like organic sounds, very like kind of trying to mimic nature as much as you can with like rock instruments, so to speak. There's no bass, but I guess the synth is kind of taking over that, plus higher register stuff. And then I joined, and obviously I don't want to like redirect the band in like another direction, but just kind of reinforce what's already happening and see how like we can push forward with the initial idea of where we want to go. So I started doing what Zach was already doing on guitar, kind of like he started doing the volume pedal thing and kind of removing all the attack, all the like pick noises, and kind of it's all swells.
Did you say pig noises?
Pick.
Pig.
Pick. But sometimes it's pig noise. I think Jack is the pig noise guy.
The Jew wants to
and I guess like little by little we feel more comfortable like dropping things that were there when the idea initially formed. Like there's a new song where there's no volume pedal, or like Sam is thinking of dropping the metal ring on the drums. Like we call them the gimmicks. and kind of I guess not think too much about how to like what the sound is gonna be like, but like try stuff. And we're very critical about the new ideas and very easily say like shut down ideas. Like we'll give them a shot, but we'll be like, okay, that sucks, let's not do that. I'd say like 6 out of 10 ideas are like nah, but also very open to like kind of when something sounds good, it sounds good, and doesn't really matter what the like if it's with the volume pedal or with the ring or like whatever.
We approach practicing and the sound stuff in a way that isn't like necessarily like industrial, but it's rather like for a while when we would rehearse, we were just like really into sounds that we could make that wouldn't sound like the instrument necessarily, and there'd be kind of like creatively directed by Zach's poetic descriptions of sounds, or like making something sound more lemony, or making something sound
A water hose.
a water hose or something like that. And I think that like we're really focused on that, but not trying to sound like I think we just like the sounds rather than trying to be like experimental or something.
I think like as a band, we don't really care that much about melodies.
Yeah.
Here and there, there's like little fragments of melodies that we try to incorporate, and like a big thing for us has been like trying to use melodies almost like samples, where it's not really like a fully realized like contour of a melody. It's just kind of like this little fragment. It's mostly just like we're only really thinking about like rhythm and sounds, and that's pretty much just leaving it at that. Anything else we try to incorporate seems to get kind of like cast aside, ends up feeling like dead weight or something. So we just kind of move on without that.
It's just I filmed the TV of the Justin Gaethje Michael Chandler fight. It's a really great fight. Yeah, it's such a good fight because they fought and they were just kind of like, and they're just trading punches, and both of them have just like a crazy chin, and so they're just like bleeding, and they're just like, and they just kind of keep hitting each other over and over again, and after a while they're just like, and then at one point Michael Chandler goes like, hit me again. And it's so great because it's like, he's like, it's just like such a bizarrely like over the top like masculine moment, and it's like situated in like, the most like mundane like guy culture ever,
Hold my hand, touch my dog, hold my hand, hold my hand. That puts finger on my blood, son. That puts finger on my blood, son.
We appreciate athleticism as a band.
Yeah.
And excellence.
That's true.
I think that's priorities.
We're all fixated on the body.
That's true too. Yeah. The human body is an interest.
The video relates to how when you're doing your vocal deliveries, like the other day doing vocal overdubs, we were talking about kind of the fluidity between like the macho delivery and the more like feminine delivery. And I think at least for me looking at it, because I just saw like the finished product, seeing how like such a like masculine thing, like the fight, people beating each other up, was like captured like really close up. It's like half of the time it looks really like homoerotic, where they're like hugging each other and like kind of almost like borderline kissing. I think the like back and forth between like kind of hitting each other, at least from like the lens of the video, into that kind of almost like weird, bizarre loving in the ring, relates I think to like the moments of kind of violence and fragility in the music.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one shot where Michael Chandler is like sitting down, and his trainer or whatever they call that is like trying to clean him up in between rounds, and he looks like a lamb, like he's like bleeding, and you could and it's like close up on his face, and he has this like just totally like vulnerable look on his face, and it was like and I guess something like the combination of those things is what attracted me to it.
A song is finished. In rehearsals, we honestly write really well together, like insanely collaborative, and it is so far very successful. But it definitely, the idea, like Sagiv mentioned earlier, of a song, and like it'll start with like a lick or a sound that I will make, or Sagiv or Sam, and then we kind of like riff off of that. Definitely being guided by Zach in the practice space, I think, in ways. And then, but it's like hard to explain how a song like is like totally done, you know? But I think the moment that it feels done is when when all three of us are like really synced with each other and ideas, and because our songs are fairly short, so it's more like songs are made of different ideas rather than like a verse and a chorus, or I mean maybe it ends up becoming that, but I think when there's multiple ideas that really make sense together, and it kind of feels like a roller coaster to get to these ideas, is when that it's totally done. Also, maybe when you start like singing on top of it and like riffing on top of it. But there's a time when it is finalized, and we all kind of are looking at each other like, this is it, you know. But yeah, I mean, some practices we've written like 2 songs, and others it'll take like hours and hours to figure out one part,
And then we scratch it.
Yeah, and then we scratch it, you know.
Yeah, we'll spend a lot of time with an idea, and then like if it's not working, we're just like, it doesn't matter how long we spent on it, if it's not working, we're just like, nah, it's good. And then for vocals, I think it's like it's never really done until it's recorded, or even maybe after. There's always like room for change, or like kind of, because you try stuff out in rehearsals and sometimes live, you're like gauging how it feels, like different deliveries and lyrics, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yeah.
Each song kind of has like we have like roles in each song, you know. And I think not just like musical roles, but like someone feels like maybe like the leader or something. I don't know. I'm thinking we're recording an EP right now where compared to the first one, it is like very different in like what our role is in each song. You know, rather than being a drummer, like Sam like is like the I mean not a soloist, but like it feels like the front thing on a certain song, or Zach or myself or Sagiv or something.
Also songs where like Jack or Sagiv is kind of playing drums, you know,
Yeah.
with guitar or synth, or Zach even, you know, it's like, I think the focus on rhythm kind of brings a lot of it together. On the new stuff, there's like a good amount of stuff where it's like there's not really any kind of like harmonic anything going on, as much as just like there's a rhythm that Jack's playing, a rhythm that Sagiv's playing, and a rhythm that I'm playing, and they all just kind of like interlock in a way that we like, and then we just kind of are like, okay, that's a song. we have a new song, you know.
There's a confidence to it though. It doesn't feel like, oh, it doesn't feel full enough, you know, or something like that. It feels.
It takes very little to write a song for us, I think. You know, it
Yeah.
takes very little like moving parts before we feel like we're done with it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
You want to talk about the lyrics?
Sure. It's like it's like really, it's like collaborative in like a really like fluid way, I think, and that's what I'm like really happy about right now with the way that our process is. Like, there's a lot of like really natural kind of push and pull that happens at the same time, and everybody is like equally engaged in it, which is a really exciting way to write because it just feels like really natural. And we do that with the instrumentals, and we just kind of like play something and then we talk about it and then we go through it, and then eventually we get like an instrumental. And then once the instrumental's done, usually I'm like listening to like an iPhone demo or something, and I'm just like always writing anyway, so I'll just usually just take things that I'm writing anyway and put them into, figure out a way to make it so it's like pretty natural because I'm already writing, and then it ends up being a part of that. One thing I'm really happy about with the band is that it feels like everybody's kind of doing what they do in the way that they want to do it, and it naturally fits into one like one whole thing, which is cool.
It really is like the most basic way to like write music. None of us really come into like practice or anything with an idea. It's like how anybody would imagine to write a song is how we write it, where someone like Sam starts playing a beat and then I start playing on top of it, or Sagiv comes up with something. It's like it's really easy, and we're all really good at knowing what this web of YHWH Nailgun that we've created is. So I think like we can kind of push and do our own thing inside of this bubble of like a, not an aesthetic, but like the ideas that we've created over a long period of time. There's a lot of freedom to it.
These interests that crop up and it's my cell phone. There's like interests that crop up in all of our lives that seem to kind of surround like the human body, and I think like with this focus with the music on it being sort of like really heavily rhythmic and kind of like there's a lot of just these kind of like guttural sounds and stuff, and kind of like I think Zach makes a real effort to make his vocal performance very like physical, and so I'd like to think it comes across live. I think you do a lot of like kind of contorting your body and like placing yourself in like weird unnerving poses live, and I think a lot of the lyrics surround like this sort of like physicality, and I don't know, I hope it translates because it definitely it feels like that when we're playing live. I don't know if it's like for me, I kind of feel like once like the songs are recorded and out there, like once you're playing live, you don't really like own the songs anymore. You can't really like control how anyone perceives it. It's like kind of like not yours anymore. So it's like I don't know if people pick up on that at all, but that's definitely like that's something that I feel like is sort of at the core of all of it.
I think when we play live, the fact that you aren't holding an instrument is like, and we also, if we're lucky, we normally try to do this, but we play with the lights off and like a spotlight on Zach to where you can see the three of us, but it's almost like shining a light on Zach's like, body in a way. It's super vulnerable and super intimate, but it also kind of like goes along with the same idea of the music video or anything like that. I think the loops come from like how we come up with ideas in practice and then kind of like almost loop the ideas, and then that just kind of ends up being it. But we also talk about like being inspired by techno, electronic music and stuff like that, where there is that repetition.
I just think it's like sick to take like one idea and just do it over and over and over again. You know what I mean? Like it's like that's just cool. It's in a lot of electronic music, and we all like like are fans of electronic music, you know, there's a lot of different stuff that I think we're drawing from in that sense, but it's also just kind of like it feels good to just play the same thing over and over again until it's just like burning into your skull, you know what I mean?
Yeah, how much you can squeeze out of one idea, because also like we're trying to not do too complicated song structures. Like the instrumental parts, especially the drums, are like pretty intricate. I guess like our parts are a little more simple, but besides that, the individual parts, the songs are kind of simple, mostly like in 4/4, and we're trying to keep like, I don't want it to feel like there's like A section and B section is like completely divorced ideas, but rather like a more of a fluid transition from one to the other, and just like kind of a new angle on the same kind of riff, rather than like presenting a new idea for B section.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just part of the formula.
Mm-hmm.
You know?